Hello, everyone. Welcome, one and all, to our brand new overlay. But also, hello and welcome to our weekly Scion second edition game. I am Simon at Wandering DM, and I will be GMing our game today. We have a lot of returning faces. One who we haven't seen in a while.
And she jumped so far that she slid across the kitchen floor.
And that is Morning.
And one in the distance.
Without further ado, let's go and introduce all of our players for today. We'll recap what happened last week, and then we will begin with, consequences of your actions and, stuff like that. So, I'll do a strange order since Morning isn't there. I'll start with the person in the bottom right corner of the overlay, and we'll go around clockwise. So we will begin with Hannah.
Woo! I'm Hannah, Hanimation Art on Twitter, and I use she/her pronouns. And for this game, I'm playing Kieran Kearney, son of Loki. He uses he/him pronouns.
Up next, we have the mysterious figure who appeared at the very end of last week's episode. Robert, welcome back.
Like a bad penny, I'm bound to come back. I am Kentucky Hawkeye, quite sometimes known just as Hawk or Hawkeye here on Twitch, and I'll be playing Finbar O'Dubda, professor of ancient literature, and more importantly, scion of Ogma.
And there's a few things that I will have to catch you up to speed, Finbar, as to what's been happening on the Green Isles while the rest of the group were sauntering about the rest of the world. But before we go into that, up next we have Anino.
What's going on, everyone? My name is Anino. I use he pronouns, as does my character, Eddie Kale, the scion of Sun Wukong, the Monkey King, and instigator of the group. And so we have to figure out who we're going to swindle next.
And on the top of the overlay, we'll start with Lynn. Hi.
Hey, I'm Lynn, Flying Cirrus on Twitter, she, her, and I am playing D. Higa, sign of Inari, also she, her.
And last but not least, we have returning with us this week, Renee.
Hi, I'm Renee Rhodes. I am back playing Morning, just, sauntering around the world. Both Morning and I use she/her pronouns, and I am so thrilled to have back today with everyone here. It is amazing to be back with this group of players. Oh, also, I should preface, I do have a very distracting chaos kitten about 3 months old who may make an appearance in the background on the desk or anywhere. I may also have to step away to deal with her. This is Kiri.
So before we begin, I think we'll recap last week. Then we'll catch Finbar and our viewers, and also our other players, because no one... Well, I think some of you have been to Ireland in-game before, but things have happened, and before you arrived and after you arrived, after you left, I should say. So, of course, no one here, aside from me, knows what is going on, so it'll be a surprise for most everyone. But we'll begin with a recap of our last session. Who would like to recap your amazing exploits in Japan?
What did y'all do?
Because oh, no, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, you could say this was kind of D's fault.
Hey!
We're just following D.
We were just following D. D had a obligation to fulfill, in Japan, and well,
Let me guess,
Eddie
like two
and
little
Kieran
kids that are away
didn't-
from the parents, they got bored and you got into trouble.
Well, we didn't necessarily ran away. It's just that we weren't allowed on the mountain to watch these training in progress. So, Kieran and Eddie decided to go exploring. Started off with exploring Japanese convenience stores and getting all the snacks that they could get. And then, celebrating Dee's success when she finished her trials. And that's when we met Yoshi, the scion of Hachiman, while we were hanging out in a arcade. And, apparently, Yoshi could not acquire a certain relic artifact that would be a gift from his patron, and well, that was a challenge that Kieran and Eddie could not turn down. So there was a plan hatched to rob the Japanese museum of a very ancient set of mystical armor. A lot of it was improvised. There wasn't a whole lot of actual violence, but there was certainly a lot of chaos and property damage involved.
No violence. Nobody got hurt. Nobody got seriously hurt. And I'd say that it was more an act of kindness out of, the goodness of our hearts for a fellow scion that we took on this undertaking. I don't know about challenges, but I'd say we were good people.
It was a challenge. It was a challenge.
It was a challenge.
We had to figure out, well, you had to figure out how to break into the case that could not be shattered. And, in the meantime, Dee had her hands full with trying to convince the spirit of the museum to not completely ruin their plans. So, and then we also had to deal with Yoshi's very bad acting because, he wasn't very good at the whole causing a distraction thing.
He put his talents of his acting chops to work, and I mean, look, he stalled the guards as long as he could. One by faking a heart attack, then by faking utter confusion, and just getting in their way. But you did manage to escape with the armor after all. There was a lot of pain coming from Kieran's attempts at breaking the display case. There was a very epic, shall I say, standoff between Eddie and the guards. And then the three of you went back. Well, Dee and Kieran teleported back first to the cottage. And it took some time for Eddie to reappear as he needed to act as an Uber driver for Mr. Yoshi as, Yoshi's now wanted by the authorities and needs to flee Japan ASAP, but could not get to the airport in time. When Eddie reappeared at the house, he had with him a plethora of Pokemon merch that seemed to have materialized in his hands.
No, he actually paid for his merchandise. He took a nice stop at the Pokemon Center in Tokyo before he teleported back home. And he got a almost life-size Lapras doll for Morning to decorate her room with. Yeah.
The Morning hasn't seen it yet.
Right.
Because when the group arrived, so that's what we did. Morning was still asleep, and Dee, Eddie, and Kieran, along with Winnie and JD, decided to head to the Thirsty Oak. Was that the name, or did I get it wrong? No, the Tasty Oak, not Thirsty. The Tasty Oak, and to have like a meal and hang out and talk about what was what happened in Japan and what their next moves were going to be and all of that. And it is there that after, I think it was about an hour that you were there, talking about fate and free will, and very light, small talk
Holy,
conversation.
D totally did not bring down the mood.
I mean, you ask the real questions. And as fate would have it, the door to the bar opened, and seen through the light of day from outside was the shape of one Finbar O'Dubda, who would come all the way from Ireland back to Niantic in America. But before that, let's just rewind the clock a little. And Professor O'Dubda. So, after the events with Wolf Security at the Niantic University, you went back to Ireland after settling things with Professor Morgan, and went back there to do some more research with what was her name again? Nemain.
Mm-hmm. With Naman, yeah.
To look into other scions, to try to find more information. Now that you knew that there were, 5 of you in Niantic, there should be more elsewhere. And so you went back to the Emerald Isle and began your research. A few weeks later, you were visited by your friends from Niantic. They sort of hurriedly explained that they had a house, a magical house that allowed them to basically travel instantly across the whole world. And they were in Wales to meet with Morning's dad that very morning. And took a ferry to Ireland to see you. And also to ask you about what was wrong with Ireland. And here's what you discovered in all that time. Ever since you returned to Ireland, there has been this weird a feeling of malaise that would not affect anyone else that you've seen or questioned, only yourself. And this odd sensation of impending doom was exacerbated the day that you began to see through the clouds one enormous red eye just staring down at the island. No one can see it. After a few days of it being in the sky, and it is there day and night, it even shines at night, brighter than many of the stars. None of the mortals have seen it. None of the papers have talked about it. No news report. Nothing. Not even these, the fringe conspiracy websites that you and Naman would visit to try to find, clues on some of the divine beings in the world. Like, no one. No one's talked about it. No one's made any mention of it. It seems like only you can see it. And, as a professor, as an academic, you did some more, dug some more research, figured out also that the eye, while you can see it, let's say on media, like pictures or videos, you cannot, even if you show it to someone else, they cannot see it. Even if you were to point at it, even if you were to the only way they could potentially see it is if you were to draw over a picture, they would see your drawing. But on the original, there is nothing, not even like a cloud shaped as an eye or anything like that. You dug deep in mythology and figured out, at least from what you have found so far, that this would be the Eye of Baelor. Baelor is a very old Fomorian.
It's back to the way, Agent.
Yes. He was the leader of the Fomorian, and he was described as a giant with a large eye that wreaks destruction when he opens it. Baelor is killed eventually by Lu, the god of light. Baelor himself was a very angry creature. Basically dead set on destroying Ireland. He could be akin to almost Surtur from Norse mythology. Maybe even in other religions or other myths. Maybe like the destructive power of the sun. He had apparently a stronghold in Ireland called Tormore on Tory Island. You went there just to see. It's a rocky outcropping in the middle of, well, not in the middle of the ocean, but like it juts out from the island, and that's it. It's a tiny island in the north of Ireland, called, and I will probably butcher it, but Torag in Gaelic, Toraigh. And you were expecting something, at least. It's just a rocky outcropping in the middle of the water. There is a way to walk there. It's very precarious, but there was nothing else. No like magical shimmering aura or something else that only you could see. It's with a lot of imagination, you could squint hard enough to think you saw some like foundation of some sort, of like a structure in the stone, but it's probably just the imagination of so many people running wild over generations. Nothing magical there. The eye never stopped looking. It is not looking necessarily at you. It is fixed. It doesn't move. It doesn't blink. But it's been making you increasingly unwell. This malaise turned into anxiety and stress. And Naman suggested you take some time off, take a vacation from Ireland, go somewhere else. See if you still feel that way when you're farther away from the eye. She cannot see it, but she will keep an eye out on anything strange that might occur, if ever. And she'll notify you. The moment she hears about something almost supernatural happening, she'll give you a call immediately. But otherwise, she did what she could to try to reassure you that she had everything under control. You left Ireland to go back to Niantic, because at this point, why not just talk about it with others? Maybe the rest of the godlings had heard of of something similar happening elsewhere. You landed in America, and the moment you got off the plane, the entire feelings of anxiety and everything just disappeared. At the very least, the majority of it. Like, I'm not Finbar, I'm not going to tell you, you no longer feel anxious about what's happening. Like, Finbar can be as stressed as you want, but there is no, like, supernatural or outside force forcing this anxiety upon you. This feeling of doom.
The paranoia of feeling like I'm constantly being watched is now gone.
Yeah. Though you still, like, I mean, I don't know how Finbar feels about knowing that there's something watching, like, let's say, the number one enemy of Ireland, keeping an eye on the island. That's up to you. But here we are, on a sunny afternoon, in the Tasty Oak. You open the door and you notice in a, like, along the wall on your left, closer to the bar, sitting around a table, four familiar figure and one that you have no idea who that is. He's a man, or at least a man presenting, long, like, bed hair, unkempt stubble, just dressed in old washed out jeans and a plaid shirt, we'll say. He looks, even by just looking at him for a second, like, the first word that comes to your mind is slacker. He doesn't look like the kind of person who really puts any effort into anything. Whereas, whether it's dressing up, taking care of himself, or, entertaining others at the table. He has just brought back a pitcher of beer as you saw all of that. And of course, the moment the door opened, both Dee, Kieran, and Eddie turned around to see Finbar.
So, I haven't been gone that long, and I see you've already found a replacement for me. As I walk up to the table. Connie, pull me the finest pint this side west of Dublin.
As you wish, Professor.
Hey, Professor. I just killed the conversation. Good time. So, what if you feel like reviving it? Sure. Why don't you take a seat?
I grab a chair and pull it up. So, from what I've been hearing from Namari, you guys already have some pretty good exploits going since I had to go back.
Could say that.
We've been busy. Trying to keep busy.
So I hear.
Winnie leans over and says, they've taken care of the lupine problem.
Yes, so I've heard. I heard they were effective in ways I couldn't have imagined.
Well, I have to thank you too for, helping out. Saving my life.
My pleasure, Milas. My pleasure. I'm kind of an old romantic in that way. Whenever I see a damsel in distress, I just got to help out.
Aren't
Then,
you a charmer?
Then you should have been there when it all went down. And from what I heard, and she turns to Kieran, someone set themselves ablaze.
Don't know who that could have been.
That was a slight exaggeration of the events.
Well, what's the old phrase? If you play with fire,
Make barbecue? I don't know.
I mean,
I like
I'd
that
say
one
you
better.
get burnt, but I'm fairly certain that Kieran here cannot be burnt.
Aye, not yet. Not yet.
well, let's hope we never find out.
Physically, sure.
So I see the rest of you here is where is Morning? Is she okay?
Oh, she was asleep. Let me text her. And I think that's a perfect point to move the camera over to the cottage in the woods, where Morning, sleeping in her room, is awoken by the sound of her smartphone.
What does the text say?
It just says, "Are you up?" She uses full sentences.
Yes, okay. Uh, Morning will text back and just say, I am now. Aren't you here in the cottage?
And she replies, "We went for a drink and a chat at the Tasty Oak. Your old friend, the professor, is here."
Then bar, all caps. And then few minutes later, Morning appears out of nowhere.
Well, I mean, out of the door, but yeah. All dressed up, ready to go. Morning opens the door to the bar. A few people again, turn around, look at you, go back to their business. The moment she sees you, Winnie waves and motions for you to come sit.
I run over and fling my arms around Finbar's neck. How are you?
Oh, I would return the hug and say, I'm doing fine, me lass. How are you holding up? How's the transition to this world coming for you?
Very good. I'm a warrior queen and a social media influencer now.
You've created... I look over to the others. You've already created a monster.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I won't lie and say I didn't have a part in it, so, well, I mean, there's certain aspects you have to kind of, get up to speed on.
Well, it looks like things are going better here than they are back home, I'll say that.
Oh, that doesn't sound great.
Is the sky still wrong?
Yes, and I figured I have determined what's going on out there.
Oh.
I don't know if you're familiar with it or not, Morning. Your mother might be able to tell you better, more accurately than I could. But it appears the Eye of Baelor is focused in on our Emerald Isle.
Is the sun still on the wrong side?
Yes.
Yes.
I don't like that. Could that have anything to do with the garden?
Anything's possible. What's happening there?
There's a darkness at the edge of it that they don't know what it is, but anyone who's claimed by it, their soul is just gone.
I don't know if they're directly related or not, but after the things I've seen with y'all, I'm not taking anything for granted.
I could talk to my dad about it.
But if Baylor is trying to come back, or if someone's taking control of a part of him, that can't be good. And I relate to Eddie D and Kieran what I know of the history of Baylor and the significance of the eye. It's not good. I don't know what it means or what or who may be behind it, but it's none the least disturbing. Because if the eye is looking on the island, who knows if whoever is looking through the eye has the power that the eye was of legend to have had.
So, I'm guessing this is something that you want to address in some more aggressive fashion.
Well, Nama and I have beaten the books as far as research is concerned, and we haven't been able to get much further than what I've told you all. Nobody else can see it. At least nobody who's a mere mortal. Even when we take photographs of it, and it's clear to me in the photograph it's there. Nama can't see it. Nobody else can see it. Only me. And I assume I probably have a copy or two of the photo with me.
Probably, yeah. JD would ask to, like, can I see one?
And I pull it out, and I pass it around.
Cool.
Can they see it?
Yep, everyone can see the giant eye. Imagine the Eye of Sauron in the Lord of the Rings, but it's very much a circle. It's not like an elongated, like oval-shaped eye. It really is just almost like if a sphere was poking out of the sky.
Oh, I can see how this is disturbing.
Yeah, that doesn't look good.
No.
No. This is freaking ominous. Great. Giant eyes.
It's... I mean, it doesn't bode well. That's all I can say.
Really?
Oh, yeah. There's a great mountain giant trying to eat Ireland, and you say it doesn't bode well. Where's the rest of them?
The rest of them was supposedly destroyed in the battle. Supposedly he was totally destroyed. But it looks like something may have gotten away unless someone saved something as a souvenir. And now they're using it for their own purposes, for their own jollies, or someone else has gotten a hold of it. That's the only three options I can think of at this point.
Well, I mean, they certainly don't care about not being seen.
And it makes me wonder, is he doing it to draw people like us, people like me out? since we're the only ones that seem to be able to see it.
So far, anyway.
At the moment, anyway. And even worse, can you imagine the panic would happen if all of a sudden everyone could see it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I suppose that would probably put a dent in everything that we're building and trying to work for.
Precisely.
Should I go talk to my dad about this? I mean, he might know something. There might be updates on the garden. It's been, what, a week since I spoke to him last?
Yeah, about a week.
Is there... well, what would your next move be, Finbar, before you'd run into us?
Well, I've been to the site where he supposedly lived and came from. The next spot, I imagine, would be maybe going to the site of the battle where he was slain to see if there's any remaining clues there. After all this time, you never know.
Where would that be?
Let's see. Let me look here. It was... oh, let's see. I'm trying to look here on the trying to look here on the folklore wiki real quick to see where the battle site was.
The battle against Baelor?
Yeah.
That was...
oh, that would be that was probably maybe in Kana, the folk of Rothbrisi.
I remember... so off the top of my head, I remember that it was a massive battle because Lu blinded Baelor, and that made the Fomorian lose the battle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, attacked by his own grandson.
Yeah, it's the Battle of Magturid.
Yeah. So, yeah, we'd have to go to Magturid. That's the location, according to the legend and lore, where he was blinded / slain.
I mean, I wouldn't mind making that trip. I don't have anything else to do. You can teach me how to take pictures. I mean, I can take selfies, but like, I've been looking at these Finbar. They're like videos, but they teach you how to do things like
Oh, those instructional things on the YouTube and things like that.
Yes, YouTube tutorials. Yes, on photography and framing. Because if I'm going to be a social media influencer, I can't just take selfies all the time. And I feel like that would be a beautiful place to take some pictures. I would love to take some pictures of my dad's grave. It can't be far, right?
Oh, sure. It can't be more than 2 or 3 provinces away.
You mean from Magturid to Wales?
To Wales, yeah.
That
that would only be about
Hop,
half
skip,
an
and a leap.
island and another quarter of the next island over. It's a short trip.
We took the ferry last time.
Let me Google.
We
map
don't
it
really
very
need to
quickly.
take ferries anymore.
Oh, that's true. I can run across the water now.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
On your
Well,
own
no.
or by using Midnight?
Both.
Convenient.
I know.
What I meant to say is that we essentially can teleport anywhere in the world at a moment's notice.
Oh, that's
Oh, really?
true.
That's nice and convenient.
It is.
Be cheaper than you keep continuing using Aer Lingus, that's for sure.
I don't know what that is.
That's the major airline coming out of Ireland.
Oh, gotcha.
At any
Those
rate,
those big tubes with wings that you see in the air.
I just need to like diversify my content, and Morning like looks at Winnie and Dee to make sure that she's like using the right terminology. And we've been in the same place. I didn't make it to Japan with everyone else. I mean, that's okay. We had a great time. And there is like a picture of her most recent picture on Instagram is TikToks in the background, some popcorn on a bowl of popcorn on the table in the cabin, and just like her and Winnie holding hands. So you can only see the hands and the popcorn in the video in the picture, but she's very proud of it. And then, but like most of the pictures have been cabin related, you know?
The very rustic route you've been taken. But
well, since Kana is is the province I grew up in, it won't be hard for me to show you around there at all. Since
I'd also say that
I was born in County Mayo.
Morning's following is slightly growing, mostly because of the engagement that Posts with Midnight get. Oh, and the sword. Any like sword tricks that she does, videos and stuff, like those are pretty
Yeah,
popular.
that can go viral pretty quickly.
Yeah. Women with swords.
Yeah. And she's a pretty little woman with a really big sword. So like it's just a fun dynamic. It's a fun.
So you're the cool lass with the claymore they're talking about, huh?
Yes. I have a big sword, and she turns around and it sure is just like on her back.
Well then, I suppose
there's really no point in hiding it. We just decided that we should embrace it. But at any rate,
So they made me a Twitter.
they made you a Twitter, and now you've got everybody else's hearts at Twitter, I imagine.
I hope so. They give me little hearts.
JD looks at a D at the mention of Morning having a Twitter, and he says, "And do you think the Fates aren't gonna have fun with that?"
We'll see.
I
Why are you gonna rain down and everything? She's having fun.
Ah, you're worried about the Fates, are you?
I mean, there's no real changing Morning. She's just going to do whatever she wants. It's more of us trying to take a preemptive approach and utilizing it as cover, embracing it, so to speak, so that the rest of us don't face as much scrutiny.
Exactly.
But I don't know if you know this, but we are now the C-suite of a security firm, a multi-million-dollar security firm, and I don't know if you're looking for a side hustle, but we could probably work out a role for you if you are interested in some, additional income and benefits.
This Queen something or other, I think the mom was mentioning.
Queen's Guard, yeah, we're in the process.
Queen's
of
Guard,
doing a
that
merger.
was it, yeah.
Yeah, we're in the process of doing a merger and acquisition of Wolf Security.
Ah. Best way to take care of the enemy is either destroy it or absorb it, one or the other. Not about strategy.
We did both. Oh, also, I'm the queen.
Figurehead.
Yes.
Very appropriate. All right, so I suppose if you need someone helping with the administrative end or the archival oriented kind of stuff, or just researching what the customers need, I'm sure I could fit that into my schedule.
All right. Well, and Eddie just checks his watch. Well, in order to sort of finalize the deal and transfer full benefits of being within our little circle, we're going to need to take a road trip up north, upstate New York.
Well then, let's go see this new headquarters of yours.
We'll go there, but we're kind of waiting for another person to join us as well.
The guy
Who
with
might-
the Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
JD downs the rest of his beer, puts the glass back on the table and says, well, if you're looking for me, I'll be back at the house. I bid you all a good day. I've got stuff to do.
What do you have to do?
Stuff.
Yeah, but like,
You
what
know.
stuff?
Stuff.
He turns like one last time to Eddie as he's about to go through the door and says, important stuff.
Well, at least hang a sock on the doorknob, okay?
And with that, he disappears, leaving just the five of you, six with Winnie. So, that person you're waiting for, Eddie, Winnie asks, is he... Are you gonna make him come all the way to the house?
Yes. So I had a sort of agreement with him that if we obtained his item of interest, he would provide some tutoring for our warrior queen in training over here. See, I'm not so good with the swords. My style is a little bit, well, it's a little more chaotic, and I feel like Morning would benefit from someone who had a much more direct and to the point way of swordplay.
So, how is he gonna get there?
Well, he's supposed to be meeting us here in Niantic. I put him on a plane before I got back home.
But that's going to be a while, though.
It is.
That's a pretty good flight length, all the way from there over to here. That's at least, what, a 10 to 12 hour flight? Or at least an 8 hour.
No, it's definitely more 18 to 20.
Yeah, looking very quickly, I mean, I see one here at 26 hours.
It's not great. It's bad. It's a bad flight, regardless. Yeah.
Yeah, American Airline does it with no stops at 13 hours.
That's still
Still
So
not great.
Yeah, he probably took the quickest, even if it was more expensive, just to get out of the country as fast as possible. But that means you still, once he lands in New York, then he needs to take a cab all the way to Niantic. So you can say like at least 2 days before he shows up.
See.
2 days. That's enough time to go to Ireland, Wales, talk to your morning. You think?
I think so. We can get places pretty quickly.
Yeah. We certainly don't take a plane. Plane travel is not that great.
I honestly Not interested. Like, I'm interested in a lot of things. I even enjoyed the Bless. But, not interested in a plane.
Well, that's fine. We can just drive Finbar to the portal entrance, and we can then port on over. It'll take us what, 6 hours to get to the physical portal location. I think that's how long it's at.
Yeah, I think so. Let me
Actually, probably faster with my skill.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, you got the fast car. Fast.
Fast car!
One thing I need to ask you out of game is, has Finbar ever been to the cottage?
No, that's why Eddie is.
Oh, he is not yet.
Right, but we don't have the car here. We did not bring the car.
Oh gosh. Where are we going to find another vehicle?
What happened to your original? My poor vehicle.
The Jeep is at the cottage.
No, not the Jeep.
I would
the
imagine.
original.
Out of
Oh.
game, I would imagine that the loaner vehicle that the university had for me has probably been turned back in.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, it's fine. It's fine. We'll do this the legitimate way, and Eddie is just going to call up Wolf Security, his whoever his administrative assistant or executive assistant is there, and just request that a company cart be delivered to the Tasty Oak.
Right away.
I love this.
It'll arrive in about an hour. So you still have like some time to chat or to plan if you want, while the GM will look very quickly where the tomb is again.
We done.
Okay. Taliesin was buried in Wales, but it was in... I need to remember... Oh yeah, the village of Tree Taliesin. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I mean, by teleporting you can you can arrive at any like publicly available door. The little town of Tree Taliesin has very little in the ways of like public venues. There's a pub that you can just come out of, let's say the bathroom doors of, if you wanted to teleport there. There is a community hall, and there is a chapel that you could also probably use, that you remember seeing when you were there. And then, well, if you wanted to cross from there to straight to Connaught in Ireland, it's 300 miles. While I'll say yes, some of you can run on water, you might still get tired before you cross the entire area. Just saying. At some point, it will be completely possible. Like, don't worry about it.
I know. You're right. Okay.
How far can I toss someone?
It's...
Do you think Eddie could launch D across?
No! The throwing part, it's the landing. The landing is it.
Just checking very quickly. Now, okay, this is... It's not going to be perfect, but, let me see. It's Dublin
Stinky, you're stinky.
and Holyhead. Okay, it's... thank you for not putting it in miles. It's 75 miles. That's the closest between Ireland and the UK. Well, not the closest, I should say, but from where you are, thereabouts the closest. I don't think it would be possible to run through it. Not yet, anyway. But I mean, hey, like last time, there's a ferry, so if you manage to find a car or anything, you can, you know, hijack another vehicle because you are dead set on stealing all the time. But that could work. Anyway, it's up to you. It's feasible. What is your next step? What do you want to do so I can get an idea of where you're going?
I want to go see my dad.
All right.
I will go with her.
Yeah, anyone is welcome to come with me. My dad thinks my friends are cool. So, yes.
I guess we can do that, or we can try to see if we can source any information out there. Maybe make contact with a wolf security branch that might be out there.
Whoa, really?
We got to learn of all the resources we have available, and you know, maybe there's someone else who notices the eye who could give us some information.
Okay.
It's worth a try.
Wolf Security, by the way, is an American company.
Okay. Well, do they have a branch or any contacts out there?
They might have, like, contacts in the sense of, you know, in the industry, you know who the other companies are, or at least, you know, the CEO knew the CEO of other places. So there are security firms in, or security agencies, I should say, in Ireland, in the private sector. They could, like, your administrative assistant can probably get you, like, at least schedule, like, a phone call with one of them, if not an in-person meeting. That could be possible. You just need to give her, like, your availabilities, and then she'll try to find a moment that fits both you and the other person.
Okay. Sorry, what was the name of the CEO of Wolf Security? I'm sorry, the chairperson of the board.
Yeah, because I was going to say CEO was Ulfer Stevenson. It's Margaret Sanders.
Yeah, I think that actually, you know what? Instead of calling the administrative assistant, we can move up the ladder a bit. Kieran, maybe you should contact Maggie and ask if there are any folks that they could connect us with over in Ireland.
Sure. Absolutely. So, does she know me? Does she know that I am now in charge of this company?
I believe she would know you as
she knows
Mr.
us.
Dragonsbane's.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But
Translator,
translator / chief of staff.
I mean, she would definitely remember you from the events of You know,
Oh,
the
yeah.
meeting where the day where Ulfr threw someone through a wall.
Right.
So you know she won't like hang up on you or anything. So if you call Margaret Sanders, she will let you know that while they do not have, you know, any branches specifically in Ireland, they were Ulfr at one point was looking at acquiring a company called Celtic Security Solution, which is based in Dublin.
You know, just if she asks why, just consider it us taking the initiative of doing a little goodwill tour to help repair the reputation of Wolf Security as we, you know, continue our merger.
But yeah, no, she can get you an in-person tour of their main office in Dublin. When you want it though.
So we'll say maybe tomorrow.
All right. So it's basically on the like outskirts of the main city, of like Dublin proper. She gives you like the directions and everything. It'll be fixed. It's going to be late afternoon, so you're not gonna have a lot of time. But it is like about 20 minutes away from the airport, which, you know, because she assumes that you're gonna fly to Dublin.
Oh yeah, very convenient.
So you'll have about maybe an hour with them. And with that, you have your appointment settled. How do you bring Finbar back to the house, though?
Oh, the company car.
Oh, yeah, right, company car. So you're going to drive... what's your power again? What does it do? You imbue one legend, and...
I imbue a vehicle with divine power, raising the scale of all speed-based actions by 1.
Yeah, so it goes at the speed of it. The speed of a race car. So you basically cut the time in half. You
Did we
reach...
race midnight?
Huh? You
Did
can
we race
definitely
midnight?
race midnight.
So what is this? All of a sudden, you're now Formula One.
It's a gift.
You reach the house. Finbar, you will see this cottage for the first time. I think we have the image in our Legend Keeper.
Yeah, I've already
You've
already
already seen it, yeah. So it's a nice house, you know, log cabin basically by the side of a lake. Very cozy, very quiet. You notice there is a family of beavers swimming in the lake very nonchalantly. They are, however, rather large beavers, as in the size of a pony. Well, the biggest is the size of a pony, I should say.
Do I sense anything magical about them with my
Oh, yeah,
presence
yeah,
of
they're
magic?
divine, yeah.
Okay, so obviously it's not just because they're being well fed.
No. That's, Winnie would point to the biggest beaver and say, that's my son, Choppa. And, this is our house.
Grand and stately place, that's for sure. I like the feel.
It's got everything, I think, that you need.
I'm sure it does, madame. And I walk into and start just looking around.
The rest of the group, you've been living in this house for a while. What would Finbar see when he comes in?
If I remember correctly, in the common area, there's this one of those austere portraits of Eddie in a business suit hanging over one of the walls, and there's actually a little Dirk Dastardly mustache markered in on it. There is suddenly a giant Lapras doll just sitting there as well on the couch where Warning usually sits.
Oh, what's this?
Oh, that's a Pokemon. Felt bad that you couldn't come with us to Japan and figured I would bring you back a souvenir.
It's for me?
Yeah,
It's
guess it is.
so cute. What's its name?
I believe they called that a Lapras.
It's perfect.
Wait. Morning. Photo time.
Yes.
There we go.
Hands D the camera. Yeah. Takes a photo with the big Lapras. It's perfect.
There we go.
I like that we're overlooking the two mannequins with like ancient Japanese armor.
And it's like, nah. Ancient artifacts?
Those are not going to
No,
get us
thank you.
engagement. This will.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Somehow I have a feeling that Finbar would probably see the Lapras initially. Oh, another one of those things. Then he'll notice the armor and take a more interest in it.
And the giant lion's pelt that's just like draped over our couch.
All right.
Yeah.
The impenetrable lion's belt.
Still hurts, but impenetrable.
So, as far as you're concerned, Finbar, one of the two pieces of armor is divine in origin.
Mm-hmm.
And so is the pelt. You recognize the pelt as being the pelt of a Nemean lion. Same type of lion that Hercules killed.
That Hercules would have fought. Yeah,
Yeah.
the first of his labors was the Nemean lion.
Yeah. And then the armor, you don't instantly recognize the armor in the sense of like who it belongs to and everything, but you do notice that it's like at least over 1,000 years old. And it's quite clearly it's the original material that's been kept intact over the years by virtue of the fact that it's imbued with divine power. But like you wouldn't know which member of the Pantheon this armor must have belonged to. It's just very nice. A very nice armor.
Yes. So it hasn't taken you long to gather many souvenirs, and I can see pointing at the portrait that I'm glad none of this is going to your heads or anything.
Well, I mean, if JD is around, or if
He's not
Kieran
inside.
decides, yeah, he's not inside. So.
You put both of those things on, you can pretty much have anything happen to you, I think.
He couldn't move, possibly. That's a pretty heavy pelt, actually.
I go
But
over
I
and try to
could.
pick it up. I go over and try to pick it up.
The pelt?
Yes, the pelt.
It is heavy AF.
I'd reach back behind and grab a hold of Slugger and hold it in one hand and use that to try to lift it up.
So basically it's not that you realize that it is heavy regardless. Actually, it is heavy even if you were dotted with epic strength.
Okay.
It's just made like that. Whoever holds it or wears it or lifts it or whatever It's always cumbersome for them. It's a thick pelt, and
Gotcha.
it's also intact. You know how often you'll have, animal pelts, but you'll always have some little like tear or wear,
Right.
especially where the skin met with like the paws or the hooves or whatever of the animal.
Right. Eventually going to have some erosion of the skin.
Yeah, or like, the person that skinned it might have made a mistake, like cut too deep or what have you.
Yeah.
This one is pristine.
Must say it's been very well kept, if nothing else. Hopefully it's been well used by whoever carries it.
I mean, right now it's used as a throw on a couch. It used to be shit. What was JD using it for? As
Isn't it just like a carpet?
it's a Yeah, it was a carpet in his living room. Like, no one has used it for its intended purposes. So
All right. So Hercules, if you could only see what your handiwork is being done with now.
JD would come in at that moment and just shout out, "That wasn't his. That was mine. There's more than one of me in lion." And he puts down next to the door a quiver full of rustic-looking arrows. Like, not modern-looking arrows, I should say. Like, they're not made of like plexiglass and all that. I'm gonna go take a shower. Bye.
So I take it this is his then.
It's more like ours when he says. I mean, Morning and I have been sitting on it for longer than he has, I think.
That's true. He
Well-
was just stepping on it.
I can then I can tell for sure. Then you two are probably putting it to much better use. It looks like better use. Looks like this pelt is worn better than he has, so to speak.
Oh. He's a good guy. And the fact is that he's basically one of the best defenses we could find for this cottage. Well, we're absent.
Excellent. All right, that's good. Well, it looks like you've done real good with the place here. It's a good, nice place to hide away from the rest of the world.
Yeah. So, just check out your room, make sure everything is ready, and then we can all go to Ireland.
And the moment that Eddie says that, we're going to take a break, but just before that, a room materializes with everything that Finbar would like to have in a room. And because of presence of magic, you're like instantly aware of the properties of this house. Not just the house, but the entire place you're in.
Right.
Anything that you wish, within reason, all right? Anything that you want will materialize, as if it was always there. So if you're like, hey, let's go barbecue, and there were no barbecues here before, now there's one. Because it just makes sense all of a sudden.
Gotcha.
So, we're going to take a quick break, because I realize it's like 2:30 already. Oh shit, it's 2:30. Okay, players, 5-minute break in case we need it. Drinks, food, whatever. We're going to come back very quickly and teleport to Wales upon our return. See you in a few minutes. Hey, we're back at the house, and a plan was made, and the 5 of you. Are you bringing JD or Winnie along? Because
JD does
they
not
won't
seem
invite
like
themselves.
wants.
No.
JD is content watching TV and
I
eating
should-
hot pockets.
You know what? We should really go back to his apartment at some point and grab the 2 gophers to you can watch the.
Oh God, no. There was more than just the 2 gophers. There
Just
was,
bring
like,
the 2
whole
gophers.
family.
Those are the ones that D made a meaningful connection with because they're probably still There's the TV's probably still on and they're still facing it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, they cannot move by themselves.
Oh, yeah, maybe it's just us. Yeah, because I think JD does not seem.
So you open the door to the cottage and teleport the tree Taliesin.
Does Finbar find himself suddenly able to do this as well?
Yes, so the way it works is you needed to, the first time you get to this, it's called a Terra Incognita, but that's something out of game information. The like specific property of this one is you need, for the first time, you need to physically reach the, they call it an axis mundi. So it's like the door, the actual place where it's anchored in the world. From that point on, you can teleport any doorway, but mechanically, here's how it works. You need to imbue a point of legend. So you temporarily lose a point of legend.
Okay.
And by the way, your legend is at 2. Which I forgot to mention. So
got it.
Yeah, you temporarily lose it. So if you had no legend points left because you burnt them all to use some of your powers or whatever, then you're screwed. You can't teleport until you regain your legend. Otherwise, lose it temporarily, open any mundane door. Once you step through, you reappear on the grounds where the cottage is.
Okay. Cool.
And the same goes for the opposite. If you leave the house, you can just decide anywhere in the world, so long as you have seen the place, even if it's just a picture.
Mm-hmm.
You just need to have seen the place.
We can fill this cabin with giant Pokemon, stuffed animals.
Is this what you're going to use? Your God's given powers?
Listen, I don't know.
Find collectibles.
I don't think you understand how difficult it is to find one of
that's-
those Snorlax beanbags.
That's minor
Okay.
on like the things that we could take advantage is just getting good stuffed animals.
Right, yeah, like Speedy was like, okay, do we get a PS5 or do we get this life-size Slowpoke pillow? Like,
Like there's a
Like
choice
he-
in the matter, right?
yeah.
I mean, you can
Okay.
do a lot with the PS5. I'm just saying.
I know, that's what I say, but also Slowpoke plushie, life-size, same price.
Okay, that's scary. So
All right.
5 of you back in Wales. Finbar and Morning. Morning, that's the first time you feel it. Finbar, it's becoming familiar. This gnawing feeling at the back of your mind. There's something wrong around here. And if you look over to the west, you can barely see the faint outline of some red light, like the sun was rising in the wrong place. Now, Morning, you finally understand it's not the sun that you saw the other day. It was like the first, basically when you went to Ireland the first time, it was like the beginning of the eye appearing. So it looked just like the sun, but now you can see that it's not like the yellow-white light, it's pretty much reddish.
Oh, I do not like that.
You see it, you feel it, or more importantly, you feel it.
Oh, so bad.
All right. You get used to it, but then again, you never get used to it.
Ugh. Thanks, I hate it.
That was me clicking the wrong button.
I was like, what?
Did we hear that?
The threat
I
is
was going to
suddenly
say, I
much
look
more
around
present.
to see if the Baylor all of a sudden is
Alien
showing up, or
wolves.
if it's just hooling with a bad belly ache.
That was just me.
It wasn't an eye, it was the werewolf spaceship.
Yes. But no, the five of you reappear in Tree Taliesin. You remember the way to get to Taliesin's tomb. Basically have to either hop a few fences, run across a few farms to get there, or just walk the road and go that huge like detour to get to the tomb itself. If you're not in a hurry, you can go through the street, the road. It's gonna take you about an hour on foot to get there. Nothing more. When you arrive at the tomb, it's the same as it was the other day. You know, this sort of stone cairn. You know that there's a secret entrance underneath, but even after your first visit, like, it doesn't look like anyone has ever been near this place or has disturbed the place, really.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I will immediately imbue a point of legend to summon my dad.
He appears, like, materializes out of thin air. He's sitting on the cairn, legs crossed, just, leaning back on his hands and looking at the sky. Oh, have to not hit stuff. And turns to you and, oh, morning. Morning.
Oh, yeah. What's up?
It's morning.
Oh, it's morning. I look over at Dio. I was like, is this what they call a dad joke?
Think so. Yes.
Close enough. I'm learning internet lingo.
You just you like when you say that, he's like, oh no.
Eddie just glances over at Kieran and just notices the expression on his face and just nudges him. It's like, come on, be nice.
Hi.
Hi.
I missed you. I know it's been like a week. How's the garden? How is everything? How is everyone?
It's been more than a week. I mean, in there.
Right, I didn't really think about that.
We put some measures in place. Try to forbid people from going into the woods. It's getting very dangerous. I don't know what's happening on the other islands, but we saw one of them burn and sink. Some of the older spirits, especially those of the warriors, they think it's the Fomorians. That they're back. But that doesn't make sense because they don't have access to the garden. They're not.
Actually, it may make more sense than you think.
Morning looks over at Finbar and says, Dad, this is a professor friend of mine, Finbar Odukta, and Finbar, this is Taliesin, my dad.
He bows. And says,
And I bow just as ceremoniously back. I've read of and have read your works.
Oh,
Very impressive.
I thank you. It
You
it was
mentioned
nothing.
the Fomorians.
Yes.
What would you think if I told you that right now the Eye of Baelor is staring at the Isle of Ireland?
He turns to look like to the west, and you notice morning, like just the faintest disappointment across his face. It lasts for a quarter of a second, but you know you've spent an eternity with Taliesin. Um, Regardless of whether or not you're related to him, you know his ticks, you know his poker face, and that's what he's doing right now. He turns back and says, I don't see anything.
What?
Is it over there?" And he points to the west. That's where the Emerald Isle should be. Correct?
That is
What?
correct. You do. Go ahead.
Morning just like just a moment and like pulls Taliesin aside and just says, "You can't see it?"
There
You
is a
can
sadness
see
in his
it.
eyes. There's a sadness in his eyes, but a smile on his face. Like they both tell a different story. And he says, "No, everything seems fine."
Why are you acting weird?
I don't see anything. As in, I don't see anything.
Do you see me?
I see you. I see the field. I see the farms over there.
Okay.
But beyond that, there's just nothing now. It's like I was disconnected. Maybe I've spent too long in these United Kingdom.
Okay. And Morning rejoins the group. She'll point to where in the sky the eye is at this point, and kind of guide Taliesin's hand in that direction so that he can point to it too, even if he can't see it.
So I guess my question to you, Mr. Taliesin, is this:
Mm-hmm.
how are you aware of any Fomorians that are still left?
I'm not aware of anything. It's like I said,
Have you
all
heard?
warriors. Hmm?
Have you heard? Or is it just the gossipy talk among old war horses that you're referring to?
Gossipy talk. I mean, Bran was never one to gossip, or like one to seek fights, and he's half Omori. Um, so I mean, if anything, I would trust his um I would trust his guts. If he says it's the Omorian, it probably is. from what I remember of them, I wasn't there when. I wasn't
Yes, that would
born
have
when it
been
happened.
that would have been before your time. Yes, I understand that.
But I've never heard of any tales of them setting fields ablaze or annihilating the dead. It's like they're trying to prevent the dead from passing on, from moving on.
Which isn't exactly their style. They're more of a in-your-face warrior than stealth. If I remember the legends correctly.
The legends don't lie. Bran was a very bellicose king, and then was not one to, torch the fields and salt the earth type of person.
No, it was not.
So
He was more of a take whatever he could for himself and keep expanding.
yeah. And I mean, I think if please don't tell him that, but I think the most political move he ever made in his entire life was to marry his sister to what's his name? Becomes a king. Matoluk? I think that was his name. Starting to lose pieces of the stories. Yeah.
With my palace of knowledge, would I remember the name?
Yes, you would definitely. It sounds like this. Matolush. And he is, thank you, Google. He is the mythic first king of Ireland.
Yeah.
At the very, very beginning of everything. Things went bad for him, went very wrong for him at some point. In part because Bran Bran married his sister without informing the rest of the family. And it creates a bunch of issues, and then after he's married and goes back to Ireland, he treats his wife like crap, and which leads his Bran's sister, to send a message out to Bran, and Bran comes into Ireland and just wipes everyone. Yeah. So, if anything, that was probably his least violent move, was to just agree to marry someone without their consent.
So it makes you wonder, are the Fomorians up to something, or is someone taking their power and getting ready to use it for their own?
The Fomorians would not listen to any one of you, or me, or any human. They're older, more ancient. I think the word that has been thrown around these last few ages, and I think, Morning, you've heard of it, the term Titan spawn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. A few of the more occult-oriented dead tend to throw that word around.
Titan spawn.
The same way as your, I believe, god spawns. That would make them your cousins, I think, somewhat.
At least first cousin twice removed,
Something like
as they
that.
say in certain parts of the United States.
Yes, the people that you would not invite to a family reunion.
Exactly.
And from what I understood, while the Fomorians are Titan spawns, they're not the only ones. There are others everywhere in the world. You know, old legends, the tales that humans would tell around the campfire, scare one another. Yeah, that sort of thing. Anyway, to answer your question, morning, I'm as well as can be, despite things going to shit.
Mm. Okay, so we have a limited amount of time before the garden potentially goes up in flames and more spirits disappear forever and no one gets to pass on. Yay!
Yeah, I bet your mom would be pissed.
Oh, she would be.
She hasn't said anything, has she?
No. But we needed something else to do, right, everyone? And I just kind of look around like, we've just been hanging out for a little while, starting a business and whatnot. We needed more stuff of legend.
Trust me, if we're dealing with what I think we're dealing with, this is far beyond legend that we're going to be dealing with.
Oh, great. Let's do it. I have a sword.
These are the legends beyond the legends.
So we become legends ourselves.
Isn't that what you're becoming? I mean, I'm not too sure how things work, but a few of the more recently arrived people in the garden talk about the gal with the sword.
Yes, I do have a sword.
They say that you are an influence on others.
Yes. A social media influencer. It's a long story. It took me days to learn, but I'll tell you about it sometime. Maybe once we get you safe for sure.
Social media influence.
Yes.
These are words that you string together, but they don't mean anything.
I know. It's a long story. Like I said, the world has really changed since you were here.
That. Well, I'm glad that you are safe, daughter, and I'm glad to see that the rest of you are safe too.
We're gonna figure this out. We have a next stop, and we'll probably learn more there. But you've helped, and it was good to see you.
It's always good to see you. Thanks for visiting twice in such a short period of time. I could get used to that.
Okay, do, because I'll be back soon.
Okay. I'll head back to the garden if you don't need me.
Here. Thank you. Bye.
Anytime. Bye, morning. Bye, friends of morning. Bye, professor.
Safe travels.
And he fades. like mist on the wind.
Morning just turns back to the group and says, "All right, where to next?"
And that's where we're gonna end today. That was a good one-liner. There's 2 minutes left on the clock. So, thank you everyone for coming today. We're getting back in the swing of things, and slowly unveiling the other. You're starting a lot of threads. I can't wait until they all end at the same time and everything blows in your face. That's gonna be
Great,
awesome.
great. Can't wait.
But yes, awesome. So, everyone, if you have anything that you would like to pitch anywhere that we can find you this upcoming week before our next game next Saturday, please do so. If you have links to put them in chat. We're gonna go around the overlay same order as we did the intros, beginning with Kieran.
I am Hannah, Hanimation Art on Twitter, Hanimation Studios on Instagram, and you can find me and Anino back here next Thursday, 8 p.m., 8:30 p.m. EST, to play some Sentinels of the Multiverse. Be sure to tune in because that is a very exciting game that we're playing, and we're just getting started, and we're already in a lot of trouble. And next Friday is back here also 8:30 p.m. with Anino, Cyberpunk Red. So be sure to tune into that too, because that's going to be pew pew, big, exciting, lots happening. And then every Saturday here, 1 p.m. EST, playing Sentinels. So, come back, see us again. Good stuff.
Up next, Finbar.
I am Kentucky Hawkeye, KY Hawkeye. You can find me here on Twitch a couple of nights a week doing some gaming streams. Currently, I've restarted streaming, so I'm going back to what I love to do most is the Lego game series. We just recently started Lego's The Incredibles, which has been a very fun play so far. Other nights of the week, I'm doing my Skyrim role plays with Eric Rosine, a character who's more Nord than the Nords, and he's got his 4 childhood companions with him who are now grown up as well, the 4 horsemen of the Nord. And yes, each of the characters is somewhat named after the 4 horsemen of NWA fame, as they are now traveling the lands of Falskar. We're exploring that mod DLC add on there, and then hopefully later on, you'll find me here on Saturdays as well. And then later on Saturday nights, usually around 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Time US, is Grappler's Keep, my WWE 2K20 universe, where a number of GMs, DMs, and TTRGP players across the Twitch universe compete in a ring that we lovingly call the Dice Tray. 4 of the people here on the stream, including myself, are members of the cast there, including one of them, Hannah, who currently holds our Women's Hunter's Mark belt, which she will be defending on our next stream, which will either happen tonight. It may happen tonight. It may not happen till next Saturday. I haven't quite decided yet. I've got to see how the schedule works out, but you'll see Hannah defending her belt. You'll see Renee trying to break her maiden and win her first match, and a premiere of Somebody New as well. So, otherwise, Cleric by day, RPG fanboy by night.
Next, and Nino.
How's it going?
Eddie. I keep naming your characters. I should name your character.
No problem. Hey, my name's Anino. You can find me on Twitter at Anino Gaming. In addition to the shows that Hannah just mentioned, you can find me tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Time over on the Other Doc channel for the second episode of our second season of Invisible Sun. There is a lot going on. It's super surreal. The best way I can describe our campaign is basically a bunch of wizards going around having brunch and occasionally solving mysteries in between meals. So tune in for that. I think that's about it right now. So stay tuned for more.
On the other side of the overlay, I'll skip myself. I'll start with D.
Hey, I'm Lynn, Flying Source on Twitter and place else. You catch my art, and you'll be seeing me next on Tuesday on a Coupled Press for more Scarlet Citadel. We found a mysterious. From a child we found a mysterious portal, and we just fought some men, and we're probably gonna go into a dungeon at some point. And on Wednesday for the finale of Cyber the Battalion on Praxagor Thesmophoros channel, there were some wild revelations regarding family members, and I can't wait to see how that concludes. And we're probably gonna have a mech battle, which should be awesome. I can't wait. And on Friday on Weave the Tale, it is we're our Dragon Age game, and our 4 agents have our mission has not gone great. We have lost Liliana, and we are now criminals. So great first episode. So can't wait to see where that goes.
And last but not least, Morning.
Hi, my name's Renee Rhodes. I've played Morning today. Kiri Speedy Rhodes has been the one that you've seen around on camera. She is part cute, part chaos right now. We had a lot of fun today. And I'm honestly a little tired. I do a lot of podcasts. You can find all of the information on my Twitter, RayDNR, and I'll be back hopefully next week. There's a lot going on, personal life stuff, but if not, then I'll see you soon regardless. So, thanks.
And I am Simon at Wandering DM. Thank you everyone for coming today. Thank you players for taking time off of your Saturday afternoons to come play Scion with me. We'll be back next week, 1 p.m. Eastern again, and on Sunday, so tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern, I'll be over on Praxagor Thesmophoria, reprising the role of Vashard as we finally unveil the one-on-one flashback session of back when he was a younger soldier fighting the undead of Kern. We'll also play D&D here on Monday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Then on Thursday for Sentinels of the Multiverse. Friday for the finale of our Season 4 of Cyberpunk. And Scion, whatever happens in Ireland happens next week. So thank you everyone for coming, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye.